What's going on, man? We are back for another episode of Southern Hospitality, where me and my sister talk about the Black millennial experience in America. I'm your co-host, Landon Moss.
And I'm Lauren Moss, and today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome, as well as the different types, understanding your value as a creative,
Yo.
and understanding why we struggle with understanding our value as a creative.
I don't know why I just want to say this. I'm sorry.
And how representation has an impact on imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
We're going to get it started off. Landon.
Oh, my. What's up?
What is one thing you learned or unlearned this week?
One thing that I learned or unlearned this week is that you cannot fix people.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Care to elaborate?
Yes, I would like to elaborate. So there's been some things going on, and I'm always like a person who wants to extend themselves to help others. And a lot of times I overextend myself. And Dr. Alfie, I don't know if you followed, but I had her on the
yeah, she's dope.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She works in the mental health field. She's trying her goal is to normalize therapy and discussions around mental health in the Black community, because obviously that's the thing that we have to normalize and destigmatize. But she was saying you can't fix people. And I think far too often people do it. And so she said there's 3 steps to it. One, not 3 steps to it. There's 3 things you need to know. One, people want to make their own decisions, and we can't rob them of that, even if we think we are helping or being helpful.
Ooh.
Because everybody is on their own purpose journey, right? Because everybody's on earth and has a purpose.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you step in, you rob them of that experience, of that learning lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even if you're trying to be helpful, because by helping, you might have done something that, you know what I mean? That lesson is something they needed to get them on the next step. Right?
Yeah.
So the second thing is we want to extend ourselves, but we must get out of this thinking that we can fix everybody, because we can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are like, I'm just being a good friend. Like, you're trying to be a good friend, but you're doing more harm than help.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And so the third thing, this is what I said. Everybody is put on earth for a purpose, and we don't want to interfere with anybody's purpose journey. What they're doing has almost absolutely nothing to do with you, other than the fact that you are in the vicinity to observe it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A lot of times we'll be like, oh, well, I think I can help this person. I can fix it. They have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can be there to support, and that's great. But understand that you're not going to be like the deciding factor, the reason why they have to want to do it themselves.
Yep.
And so I kind of did that for the first time the other day, is when I realized, like, damn, I'm really doing so much to like help this person, but it's not in my hands. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks sometimes, because you really want to help, especially when it's like someone you really genuinely care about.
Yeah.
But it's life. You know what I mean? We all have our purpose journey that we're on, and maybe it's not their time to take that next step right then and there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But whether it is or not, you shouldn't be the one to decide.
Right. No, that's powerful, dude. And it's really good that you were able to like step back and recognize it.
Yeah.
Like you said, we can really overextend ourselves when, you know, we're doing all this to try to help somebody who's not wanting to take that step, you know?
Right.
I also think on the flip side too, there is, for people that tend to step into these savior roles, there is a piece of us that draws our self-worth from being able to help people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who would I be if people weren't depending on me, if people weren't constantly coming to me? Like, how would I view myself without that? And I think a lot of us, because we draw our worth from that, without that, we don't really know who we are.
Yeah.
You know? No, I think that's really good, dude. That's a good lesson.
Shout out to Dr. Alfie.
Yeah, she's dope.
Amazing, man.
She's
we
dope.
should get her on here.
Did you hear what I was about to say?
What you about to say?
I was about to say, we should get her on here.
Oh, no.
I swear we said at the same time, like, we should get her on here.
We really should.
She's dope. Great energy. Just, man, genuine, authentic. I loved y'all's live together.
Yeah.
Like, so many gems. So many gems.
A lot.
So, yeah, we'll have to get her on here.
Yeah. Well, what's one thing that you learned this week?
One thing that I learned, and this doesn't really have to do too much with like the self journey, because usually I feel like that's where my lessons come from. This one was more so from an experience. I experienced something. So I'm a part of this thing called Lunch Club, where basically they set you up with random people based on your interests, and it's mainly for networking with like business professionals. So I do it just to kind of connect as far as with my company. And I connected with this one lady, and it just, our meeting really showed me how much we have changed as far as how brands, how companies relate to their customers. And what I mean by that is, I'm talking to her. She has like, she works for some company, and it allows her to have her own company, and she sells like vitamins and stuff. Um, and so she asked me, what do you do? Da, 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 da. I talked for maybe 3 minutes. We had a 45-minute conversation. I talked for maybe 3 minutes. And the whole time, she's telling me about this product, telling me about this product, telling me how good this product is. And then at the end, it's like, would you like to try the product? You don't know anything about me.
Right.
And I think and I see this a lot too now that, like, in my marketing company, a lot of people still have this old way of trying to get customers, whereas let me bombard you with the product and just bombard you and harass you until you buy. People aren't doing that anymore. I don't want to be harassed. I can opt out. I can click away. I can ignore you. It's easier now to avoid those kind of companies now. So I don't have to engage with you. So that means we have to shift the way that we relate to customers. And instead of me bombarding you with why I think my product's good, let me listen to you and hear, what do you need? What do you want? And try to determine if there's a fit there. Because if she had talked to me, if she had taken the time to ask me about what was going in my life, she would have realized that I am starting like a health journey, and I am looking for vitamins, and I am trying, I actually am in that space. But because you didn't take the opportunity to get to know me, I don't want to do business. I don't know you, and you don't know me. So how can you say that this is going to be a good product for me? So that's more so for the business side. It's one thing I'll talk more to on my, like, I've been doing a lot with my TikTok, is just, there's people that they get in the comments and they're self-promoting. The likelihood of people engaging with that is lower, as opposed to, I come on here and I'm just talking about things that I know could help you. That's it.
Yeah.
That's more likely to get somebody's attention when they say, dang, you gave me all this helpful content. What do you sell?
Yeah.
And now as opposed to me running after a customer, the customers are coming to me and they want to be there. So that's what I learned, is that the old way of selling, of bombarding people with stuff, that's starting to go out the door. And if people don't shift to the times, they're going to get left behind. So
yeah, shout out to you.
Dropping
gems on the marketing gems on the podcast. Sponsored by Snackable Marketing.
Right.
Let's go ahead and hop into this.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about, basically, like you were saying, understanding the value of people. That's what this whole episode is going to be about, is valuing ourselves. And did we talk about valuing others, or just ourselves mostly? This is mostly us, right?
I think we're going to keep it on us. I mean,
we go basically we go start off talking about imposter syndrome, which is something a lot of people, I think, feel in the workplace. And for the people that don't know, Lauren, what is imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome, it describes a feeling of severe inadequacy, self-doubt, and this fear that you're going to be exposed as a fraud, right? So, and it doesn't matter if you're successful, if you don't have any success, it's experienced across the board. But it comes back to feeling like, I'm not competent for this position. Somebody's going to find that out and expose me. Yeah. And there.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to just ask you. Here you go with interrupting again. My bad. No, I was going to ask you, why do you think that people feel imposter syndrome in the workplace?
Well, I think in the workplace, I think it all goes back to our upbringing. I do. I think, especially for millennials and just the type of parents how they were raised, they kind of put those, you have to go to school, you have to get a good job, like you have to do this, this, and this in order to have a good life. Right. And so I think in our quest to try to achieve those things, we've tried to overcompensate. What do you think?
Just to piggyback before I go into what I think, what you were saying about our parents giving us this guideline to success. We're at the part where the success is supposed to come, and we're still looking for it.
Right. We're like,
You know what I'm saying? And so, just to piggyback off of that, I think that is a major part of it. Is we're like we're supposed to get it, but we're not. We didn't get everything our parents promised us, everything society promised us. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, what's our worth? And then now we go into these different spaces, and we still have that lingering feeling of
mm-hmm.
like, well, I didn't succeed when I was supposed to, so I'm not sure if I'm a fraud because I'm in this space now, and I'm like, I don't know, it's
Yep.
weird, it's different.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Agreed.
but yeah, I think I know. For example, I'll use myself as an example. I've felt like a fraud throughout my whole time being like an influencer and everything. I've always kind of had like a feeling of why me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I know so many people that are funny. You know what I mean? I'm like, what makes me different from them? Like, why is it that I blew up? Why is it that I'm the one that's like getting all these followers and they're not?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's always been kind of like a thing of questioning myself
Mm-hmm.
and like being afraid that someone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's not even funny for real." Especially when I would meet people in person, and I'd put on this big ass front, or like even when I just go in public, I or talk to anybody, I'd be hot dog. You know what hot dogging is? When you're like, "Oh, that what it did," you know what I'm saying? Like doing. But
Okay.
basically, when you do the most to get
Yeah.
laughs, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, or to be entertaining, because I felt like people were like thinking like, "Oh, this dude's supposed to be funny. He's supposed to
They're
be why you
expecting
about
that.
to smile like I gotta be funny all the time,
Mm-hmm.
at every second. As soon as I wake up, I gotta be making jokes, like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying."
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of people do that type of thing, and you can like the older I get, the more I see people doing it. I'm like, you don't gotta be like that all the time. Like
That ain't
it's
you.
just people be like, oh, what the like
Yeah.
like
Doing the
and
most, like, you
I
don't have to do all that.
a lot of influencers are like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing. They probably question like, what you know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be funny. I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
funny all the time. And if I'm not, then I'm gonna be a fraud. No, you're not. You are you. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta be like I don't gotta be Landon Moss, the comedian making jokes all the time. Because at the end of the day, I'm Landon Moss, the person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a
Mm-hmm.
part of me. But that's not all of me. And yeah. Just the older I get, the more I realize I don't gotta do this. I'm supposed to be where I'm at right now.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I think you made a real valid point too. Hopefully I can remember both of them. But the first one, when you were saying like with social media, I think that also plays a huge role in imposter syndrome. Because again, social media is everybody's highlight reel. Nobody's posting the losses, the fail, none of that. Nobody's posting that.
mhm.
And with you, especially with influencers, what tends to happen is whatever it is that you make a name for, like you make a name for yourself in, people come to only expect that from you.
Right.
And so you feel like there's this pressure to continue with that, even though that's just social media. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of transfers into real life.
Yeah.
And where it's like, oh, why are you being, I thought you were the funny guy. It's like, well, I'm a human, so I experience different emotions aside from just being funny. Um, and then another point to that too is I think with one of the key advantages that you have is that you have seen the progression of social media.
Yeah.
Like really you are an OG, a social media influencer OG. So there are lessons and things that you understand that a lot of people don't, right? And with these influencers that are coming up now, I think you have a very I don't know if I could say obligation, but you just have a take that you can help them
Yeah.
understand. Like you don't have to do this, you don't have to be this to be successful. Like you can still be yourself and still have an impact.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that you can really take away from that is that experience that you have of going through it, being in it, then realizing this is not me, and shifting, having the courage to shift, because that's a huge thing too. Going from one type of format to shifting and expanding and showing that's huge. That's huge. And people have to see that so that they're not just condensed to that one character that they play on social media.
Right. Right. And the thing that also is crazy to me is that because it used to bother me when people unfollowed me because I wasn't doing comedy. But like people really expect you to just do that one thing.
Yeah.
People like, yo, make another Ratchet Girl rap. I'm like, no. I will no longer degrade black women. No. Keep degrading black women so we can laugh. I'm like, bruh, I'm not doing that shit no more.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. We love to
And
see growth. We love to
bruh,
see it.
it's just crazy. Like people, oh man, you're not even. You used to be so funny, and I hate when people be like, oh man, I missed the Vine Landon. Well, go watch some Vine compilation of my videos. And if
They're
you
all
missed
on
them so
YouTube.
much, like, but if you want to see Landon now, you ain't gonna see the same shit. I promise you that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah, man. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, it's huge. And I always think about like if I really say I love somebody, then I would love you through your evolution.
Right.
You
Right.
know? Like I just think about Erykah Badu and the type of music she used to make that I absolutely love and still play to this day, and who she is now. They're two different people. But it's not like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to Erykah Badu no more. I'm gonna still listen to her. But I understand as a human, if I'm I'm a human, I should be evolving. I should be changing. I'm experiencing different things. They're changing me. Nothing's wrong with changing. You know, I think it's a sign of intelligence. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into the different types of imposter syndrome.
Okay.
So we got soloist, do it myself, the person that does it themselves, and if they ask for help, that means that they're weak.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody that's like a soloist?
I know quite a few. I know. So I think black women, especially black men too, but I speaking from my perspective, black women really struggle with the soloist and the Superwoman Syndrome.
And what's the Superwoman Syndrome?
So I'll backtrack. So there's 5 different.
I was gonna go through each one individually.
Oh, okay.
And you done jumped all the way ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's 5 of them. We'll delve into the different ones.
Yeah.
So
okay,
it's like, you know, if you hear yours, stand up. So perfectionists, there's the experts, the natural geniuses, the soloists, and then the supermen or the superwomen. I think black women, and me in particular, I could probably relate to all of them, but soloist, expert, and then perfectionism are the ones that I struggle with the most. And a lot of it is our upbringing, you know, being told that we have to be 2 times better to get half of what white people have.
Do you think that's dangerous? It's true, but do you think it can be dangerous? Because it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you.
Why do you think it is?
I think because it makes me feel like I'm never doing enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta keep working harder, which it is the truth.
Yeah.
And then it's like, where's that fine line between the two? You know?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. It is dangerous. I honestly believe why we have high rates of high blood pressure, diabetes. I think that overwork, if you look at how the body responds when it's in a high stress environment, it's not supposed to be in a high stress environment for an extended period of time. And what it does when it's in that high stress environment is it shuts down sending vital nutrients to certain parts of your body that it doesn't need to survive. So imagine your body doing that over a prolonged period of time. There's parts of your body that is not getting the nutrients it needs to survive. That's when you start seeing all these things, diabetes, high blood pressure, because of stress. Mm-hmm. Stress literally kills Black people. It just manifests in different ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is very dangerous. It's a coping mechanism though. It's a coping mechanism passed down through our generations. Mm-hmm. We had to be so good that they couldn't ignore us, that they had to accept us into, society. And it's still that way, unfortunately. Which is why I think we struggle with imposter syndrome so long, is because we have those lessons and those beliefs instilled in us at a young age. So we overwork ourselves yet never feel like we're enough.
Right. Right. I didn't interrupt you though. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So let's go ahead and dive into the definitions. So soloist.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought you was my bad. You laugh. I'm like, what you laughing for? She gonna start saying it or not?
I'm just bouncing around. Like, what is she doing?
So the soloist is the person that feels like they got to do it themselves, and if they extend themselves or ask for help, that means that they're weak.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the Superman, which is someone, I was just kind of jotting these down, so some of these might be a little bit off. So if
Should I
I'm
take it off track? Okay.
no. When I was writing them down when you was telling me them earlier, I was kind of like halfway listening. But so the Superman or Superwoman is someone who pushes themselves harder and feel like they always have to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll and for that, like if you always feel like you gotta do more, it'll never be enough because once you get to
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, once I get to followers, for example, once I get to 100,000 followers, I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna be happy. Then once you get there,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh well once I get to 200,000, then 300,000. If I go to 1,000,000, and you'll never be satisfied.
Yep.
And then you got the expert, which is someone who feels like they need to know every piece of information before starting a new project. I will say that is probably me, which you probably be surprised about that.
Really?
Um,
I am.
Cause I'm getting out of it. Like I do stuff, but then I always the whole time I'm doubting it. Literally, the whole time I'll be doubting every single thing I do until I see the finished product, and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of bad. You know, like I always feel like I'm never prepared enough for anything.
Mm.
Even when we do these, even on the show, sometimes, even on the show all the time. Like we'll be recording. I'm like, I don't know enough about these topics to like talk about them. You know what I'm saying? But once we start talking about them, like, okay, I'm out. Not too bad. But I'm like, I'm sounding kind of stupid. Am I sounding kind of stupid? Because I don't know. And then after that, we got the natural genius, which is someone who thinks things should come easy because for them they come easy naturally. And if they do, that means if they don't, that means that they aren't good enough or worth it.
Yep.
Which is also me. But I'm getting past it. Like,
Yeah.
I tell you about the whole example about when I was playing the game and I switched to PC.
No.
So basically, I was playing the game, right? I'm playing Apex Legends. I'm a god. I'm going dummy. I was like top 10 in the world with Gibraltar, which is one of the characters. I don't know if I told you about
Really?
this. Yeah.
No.
So I was top 10 overall kills, one of the players, one of the characters.
Wow.
And so I mean I'm nuts. I'm boop, got the 20 kill badge, 4,000 damage badge, which is like hard to get. So I'm godly on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to play on PC. So I got my little gaming computer, you know what I'm saying, plugged in the mouse and keyboard. I'm like, yeah, let me try this out. First game, I land. I am so shitty. I get demolished damn near as soon as my foot touches the ground. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, bruh, am I that bad? And I'm like, bro, I'm not playing this shit no more. Lauren, I played one game on a different console. I've never played a game on PC ever in my life. Why did I instantly expect to play this game and be good?
Mm-hmm.
Because things just always come naturally for me. So I expected it would come naturally for me on PC too, which it didn't. I haven't played since then. But regardless, though, the fact that I thought that it should just come naturally because I was just good at the game on a completely different system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's something a lot of people do is like the natural genius. Like this should come natural for me because I'm naturally talented at most things that I try.
Yep. I think that goes back to one of our episodes where we're talking about the process. And we were saying, when you do something for the first time, it's a process and you're at the beginning, you're learning. It's going to be a little frustrating because you've never done it before,
Right.
But stick with it. And then you'll get to that point where you were godly on one console. If you stuck with the process, you can do the same thing on a different one.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't always recognize it as I'm just at the starting point.
That's honestly, that's what DJ has been teaching me. And because I've seen some comments, people were like, oh, you're not good. And so it used to bother me at first. But I'm like, one, I am good. Two, it's like, I'm not going to be good at this instantly.
Yeah.
When you pick up new hobbies, anything in life, when you do anything new, it's going to be a process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you said something to me earlier. You said something about like a lot of people are afraid to have people see them start at ground zero or something like that. I probably misquoted you. But
that's right.
The fact that, everybody starts at zero in everything. You know what I mean? Like on our healing journey, we start at zero. Like me playing video games started at 0. Us doing the podcast, me doing social media, everybody starts at 0. And there's nothing wrong with starting on the ground level because you have
Yep.
to.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I think people got to do a better job of understanding that too. It's like, don't critique and criticize and shit on someone because they're not like amazing at something they're just starting out on. Because if you try something new, it'll be the exact same thing for you.
Exactly.
And that's life.
Exactly.
You know?
You felt that one in your chest.
I did, man. My chest started getting warm.
You felt that in your chest.
Yeah.
I think
Shout out
that
to my acting
also.
class.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I think that also plays into perfectionism. You know, that, you know, the fear of people seeing us at ground zero, we want it to be perfect, right? And the downside of perfectionism, because there's benefits to it. When you're a perfectionist, you get shit done, shit looks good, and people know what to expect. But on the flip side of it, you can almost suffer from like this paralysis of not doing anything because nothing is good enough. Right. And going back to what you were saying, that fear of people seeing us when we're still trying to figure it out, that can lead us to not do certain things, even though we want to. We're just afraid.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that the podcast is teaching me, and TikTok actually is. I've learned so much through TikTok. I tell people all the time, like, bro, get on TikTok.
Yeah.
For one, I've learned how to move through perfectionism. And like you were saying, starting at ground zero, not really caring as much what people think because I'm learning this, right? And going back to one of our, I don't even remember which episode when we were talking about reframing our idea of failure. And instead of looking at, you know, I only get a couple of views as failure, looking at it as a learning experience. Well, why didn't this one perform well? Was it the hashtags? Was it the content? Was it the way that I worded it? Was the video, you know, just looking at it from what can I learn from this and then implement that into something else. And it becomes less about making it perfect and more about making it better.
Right.
You know?
I think this is something that I just thought about when you were talking about. I think when people grow from like it's you never stop having to learn, or you never stop learning. And I think people think like once you get past the ground level thing, like for me, example, when I started on social media stuff, it was like I was learning. And then once I got to like a couple million followers, I'm like, I should know this by now. Like, what am I doing? Like, these videos should be performing good. No, it's still a learning process. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had that many followers before. Every day I get a new follower. I've never had that many followers. So I got to do something new, and you know?
Yep. Yeah.
And so
it's a new stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think if we go into things with that mindset, understanding this is a new stage I haven't been at, there's always room for more growth. There's always room to learn more. I think we'll stop feeling so much pressure or like being paralyzed and being stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's honestly why I feel like people are stuck is they're afraid. They're afraid of looking like they don't know.
Literally why this short film isn't edited yet. But I said I will have it done by Friday, and I've been editing it every day.
Let's go! I'm ready for it.
What's that?
I'm ready for it.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting.
I'm ready for it.
But I think it was like, this is my first thing that I've actually, like, this is my first short film I ever directed. Like, I've done I guess I've done short films before, but they've been like the little music video short films, and I don't really count that. This is something I'm like gonna put in festivals, and like, it's also my first time really acting.
Yeah.
For a whole short.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's scary. I'm like, and not only just acting, I'm in a super vulnerable place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go places I've never shown on camera.
Yeah.
And so it's like, is it gonna be good? Are people gonna receive it well? Like, are people gonna just like be like, oh, this shit's ass? Or you know what I mean? So it's scary.
Yeah.
But I gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I also want to do it because you know what I mean, the other people that were part of it for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the least I can do for them. But mostly it's what I can do for myself as well. So
there you go.
You know.
Yeah.
What you just smiling? You just smiling.
Was I doing the dad smile?
You was. You be just nodding off slow.
That's when it really. That's when it. I have different nods. When I start nodding slow, that's when it's really hitting me. Like, I'm going like this. I'm like, yep. Then I go from that to
Start blinking all fast. Oh, she about to cry. Now let's jump into the next topic, man. So we want to talk about understanding our value.
Woo. Woo.
Yeah, and you want to talk about understanding our value as a person first?
Let's do it as a creative.
Okay. So understanding our value as a creator. I'll give an example. A friend of mine, she's a photographer, and we were talking about, she had a shoot set up, and she was talking about, she's like, I'm just tired of like doing these like little cheap shoots, and like she's like, I know my value is more than that. You know what I mean? And so I was like, shit, what do you think your value is? And they showed the number. I was like, well, then that you should charge if you think that's your value. Here's my thing that gets me on the fence is like, me personally, one thing I don't like doing is like ruining relationships or like cutting off the possibility of building one. You know what I'm saying? Because I think about like over my career with social media and some of the brands we've worked with. We used to work with some agencies that were super small, and they're like, yo, we don't got a huge budget. And it was clearly below my value, but they were good people. And so for me and Edgar, my manager, he's always been like, relationships are the most important thing for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always about the money. For us, relationships are most important. Some of the companies that I worked in these small deals with blew the hell up. Like one of them, for example, got bought by Twitter. You know what I mean? And then this other company I started working with, like they've been getting me like consistently the biggest deals I've ever gotten, like $10,000+ deals. And then but it's like, if I didn't build that initial relationship with them, I wouldn't have got these deals. And so the dilemma that I have is, how do you balance, or how do you straddle that line of like understanding your worth and also, I guess, building a relationship, or like, I don't know. It's
not severing those relationships.
Yeah.
Man, it's a hard one. It's a fine line to straddle. Because I get both perspectives, right? On her side, if you know that you're undercharging, what you're capable of doing, by all means, yes, increase your prices. I honestly, I wholeheartedly believe in that. And this is what I have to remind myself of, because I struggle with it, is you're not paying me for the time. Like, you're not paying me for this shoot. You're paying me for the time I spent to be able to do all of this for this. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's okay, I think, to charge higher prices as long as you can justify the value that you're going to deliver. Right. Like the example I was giving, I do website design. There are agencies that charge tens of thousands of dollars to design a website, but that's because they can prove to you the type of value that you're going to get for that, and you're going to get your return back. So in that, when people understand, like, yeah, I might be paying $500, but I'm going to get $1,000 worth back. Okay, I can do that. But if we just, this is what it is, and I never communicate my value, then that's when people are like, why would I pay all that when I can go over here? For example, when I used to write papers in college, I used to charge $15 a page. $15 a page. I was making bank, right? Because I knew my clientele. I knew they had money. But I would always tell them, well, how much do you want to A?
Oh, that's fire.
How much do you want to A? That's kind of expensive. Well, how much do you want to? I said, you can go to the other people that charge $7 a page and get a C if you want to. Well, I'll refer you. But if you want an A, you're going to pay them $15 a page.
Right.
And if you don't get an A, I will give you your money back. That's how confident I am in my services and my value. And I think it's the same thing. If that's because what they're paying me for is not me writing the paper. It's the 10 to 15 years I spent learning how to write at that level. That's what you're paying for. Yeah. And that's something that I've had to restructure. And I think it goes back into imposter syndrome too, is once I really understand my value, I can communicate that. And I don't feel like an imposter because you're not paying me for my time. You're paying me for the investment I made, those years of investments that I made to be at this point.
What was more important to you though when it came to like working on these papers? Were you doing it for like more of the money?
Relationships.
Okay.
I always had two offers. I will help you write the paper for free. Or
Okay,
you can
got you.
pay me $15 a page and I'll write it for you.
Got you.
But I did it because I really enjoyed, like, I love writing. So I'll show you what I do, the template, how I find the information, all that. I will do that for free because I enjoy that. But if you want me to do it for you, you're going to have to pay.
Got you.
Yeah. I think relationships are more important. I do. Because like you said, when you build those relationships, and going back to earlier when we were talking about actually building relationships as opposed to just selling to people, when you build relationships, like as you grow and as those people grow, you come up together.
Yeah.
And so you don't want it to be sales based, but at the same time, you don't want to undervalue yourself because I can't be doing all this and I'm struggling to live. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I didn't go through all of this to struggle to live. I'm charging what I need to charge to be able to live comfortably. Right. And I think about like my therapist when she raised her prices and it was a little bit much, but at the same time I could afford it. I was like, well, the value that you've given me, how you've changed my life or helped me change my life, it's worth me paying that. If that's what you have to charge to live your life comfortably, I'm okay with paying that. But that's because of the relationship that we built.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I say I think it's both perspectives. But yeah. What are you thinking over there?
It's just it's such a weird like line, man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I think photographers have it the worst.
Oh yeah, because people don't understand what all they do.
Right, and people like, oh, I can take a picture of my damn self. We'll do it.
Right. What am I here for?
And then I think it also like this is one thing I always disliked about IG models is they didn't understand the worth of what they could bring different companies. And I think it's just because like when you're getting money that you like you get money that you just haven't gotten before, it's like, oh, that's a lot of money, but you're setting the standard of what the price of other people get. Let me not say IG models because it was everybody, like influencers as well. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. But people who were like in the millions or something, they would charge a certain dollar. So like, let's just say King Batch, he was the biggest influencer at the time. Let's just say he charged like $1,000 for a post. How can I, as a person with $200, think my value is $2,000, but he is bigger than me and he's charging less than that? You know what I'm saying? So like now other people are like, what are you talking about, dude? Like you think you more than what you are. So that's why I think like that's where it kind of like messes me up because I think like I think some photographers might charge like, oh yeah, I'll do the shoot for like $50. Like it won't be nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can this person say that their value is this when it should be that? You know what I'm saying? But how do you go about that when the market has been set by someone else when they've set the market at a lesser value? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it goes back to knowing how to articulate your value. For example, we'll use the King Bach. Is it King Batch or King Bach?
I don't know why everybody says Bach. Batch.
Maybach.
His name is Andrew Batchelor.
Oh, wow.
Andrew
Okay.
Bachler. Give this man government on the podcast.
King Batch. Okay. Say he charges $1,000 because he's got 1 million followers. All right. I can say, well, yeah, I only have 20,000 followers, but my engagement rate is at 50%. My target audience is Black females at 25 to 35 years old. They live in this, They meet all of the characteristics of your target market and the people that you're trying to, invest with. So by partnering with me, your money's going to go a lot further because one, my engagement rate is higher. So there's more people that are going to be interacting with this post, that your brand awareness will go further again, because my engagement rate is higher. Like just showing the different ways that you'll have more value. Now, I can't speak for Batch and what his numbers will say, but I can guarantee you that my numbers can do this for you. You will
Right.
get this kind of return, even though I don't have the following that he does. Because following in the marketing world, followers is a vanity metric, and that means it's just a metric that it doesn't really hold a lot of weight because you can buy followers.
Right.
So the more important things like engagement, shares, comments, not even really likes, mainly, but the engagements and shares, I have this, and this. So I can get you this type of return that if I'm really trying to do more for my brand, that's what I'm looking at as opposed to how many followers you have. Now it's like, okay, I see what you're saying. Maybe we can pay you 2,500 instead of 1,000.
Yeah.
That's why I think articulating your value is more important.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Just navigating the creative space.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new industry, honestly.
And it's only growing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. It's a new
only
industry.
growing.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Oh, that's it. The Elon Musk quote. I'm probably gonna mess it up, but he was saying they were interviewing him. I don't know what they were interviewing about, but he was saying, with his engineers, he tells them like you get paid in proportion to the magnitude of the problems that you solve. So the bigger problems that you solve, the more you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're solving problems that anybody can solve, okay. But when you start solving those big ones, that's when that big money comes.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people are doing that.
I had made a joke earlier when you first told me that quote, and I was like, being sarcastic, like, oh, that's why NBA players get so much. Like, being sarcastic because I think, first I was like, oh, yeah, what problems do NBA, and I love the NBA, but I was like, what problems do they really fix? But I think it's not so much as problems as much as, like, needs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people need to be, what's the word? I forgot. I had said it so good when we was outside. I forgot the damn. But like, I guess people's wants and needs. But like people, they want to be like, especially right now, they want to be like entertained. You know what I mean? And it's what I'm like blanking on what I was saying. I can't remember.
It
what I
doesn't
said.
have anything to do with escapism, does it?
What's
Well, you were
escapism?
saying something about like, basically you just trying to escape your surroundings. So people watch TV because they don't want to deal with what's going on in their lives. Basically, it's another form of avoiding stuff.
I said that.
No, you didn't. You actually said they fixed.
I'm like,
you
escapism.
said they fix like they meet social needs. Social needs was a big one
Yeah,
because
it
like
was
you
social
build that
needs
like camaraderie with people.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just get off subject because I keep thinking about this randomly and I don't know why. But I saw some quote that was talking about how like humans have this natural want to like be connected with other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that kind of falls under is like you're connected with other people because you're like I think about when I'm watching the game. I don't know, like for instance, last night I was watching the Lakers Nuggets game. When they were going to run, I literally typed in Lakers on the search bar on Twitter just to see what other people were saying about the Lakers.
Yeah.
And then like we want that. You know what I'm saying?
We crave it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
and
crazy.
That's the need that they meet is that, I mean, how many teams are there?
30 in the NBA.
Yeah, that brings together so many different people from all over the globe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a huge need.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge need. So they're willing to pay them a little more to keep that connection because that's what people are craving. Yeah.
I think that's why, that's why I'm such a big fan of LeBron is because he understands his value and what he brings to the sport and to the world.
Yes.
Like through basketball, I'm able to influence and impact all these different things. And guess what? I know it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so
yep.
that's why I honestly think that he's one of like the greatest athletes ever.
Yes.
Like think about his just more than an athlete. That's like look how many players have started production companies and you know what I mean, done these different things.
Huge. Yeah.
I can't tell you a time that I'd ever seen Kaepernick obviously. But besides Kaepernick, what NFL player and maybe I'm just ignorant to it. There might have been a bunch I just don't know about. But it seems like so many other players are stepping out and taking a stand. Like when you got Patrick Mahomes, who's the face, like he's the reigning Super Bowl MVP. He's an
Right.
MVP, and he's speaking out. Like, you know what I mean? They got
Yes.
all the stars in the NFL speaking out against racial injustice and all this stuff. Like,
Yes.
do you think that has without LeBron first doing it?
I think he was that first domino.
Yeah.
I do. I think he was that first domino, which it starts with understanding your value. And once he understood that and understood how much power he had and moved forward with it, that helps other people realize, like, I have that same kind of influence, that power. Let me do this. And it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
It's a domino effect. Yeah.
And that's why I respect the hell out of Cap, man, just
Whew.
for what he did.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, he really sacrificed his entire career
He did.
for something that was greater than football. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And now look at people in the sports world. You see people in different sports. I just saw something yesterday that was like the MLB and the
Yeah.
MLB Players Association is donating $10 million to, like, I forgot what exactly it was, but it was like these black organizations or something like that.
Yeah.
But like that type of stuff doesn't happen without Kaepernick. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what he did, just I mean, you see people all around the world kneeling. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he
Yeah.
started that. He was the domino for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's again understanding that value, dude. Understanding it and why it's so important to understand it, because there are people that see your value
Mm-hmm.
and try to keep you from seeing it
Yeah.
because they understand just how much influence you have.
Yeah.
Right. So when you get people that are coming at you and constantly nitpicking, it's not because they don't see it, it's because they do see it.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. And they feel like they have more to lose if you were to realize it. Mm-hmm.
Also, I just want to shout out to Blame It On Quay. You know, TT?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, he is doing so much for like influencers. And this is why I also respect the hell out of Batch too, because Batch taught people how to be directors damn near. With the skits he was shooting, because and people subconsciously learn like the different angles of like different things without even understanding what they were really doing.
Yeah.
Because it was like Batch is doing that, so I want to do something like that.
Yeah.
He was literally teaching people with like film school. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So Quay, you know, he opened up all these restaurants and stuff that he got going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
was there one in Atlanta?
Yeah, there's one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Crab Queens. I think what he's doing is the same kind of thing that LeBron is doing. Is like, you're more than an influencer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you make people laugh, but you're a businessman. You're a business.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that shit's so dope, especially for like black creatives.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you are an entrepreneur. You are a business with an entire marketing team within yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
you have this reach. That's you.
Yes.
You can do so much more than just make people laugh.
Exactly.
So I think that's dope.
And you can do so much more than just be used by these brands,
right,
to further their awareness. Like, no, do it for you.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing too with LeBron that I love, is like him doing, like, having his own and showing other athletes like they can have their own. I don't remember who I was talking to, but they and it goes back to your point. This guy was talking about how Josh Hart, do you remember him? He's huge in the gaming world, apparently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but stepping outside of the NBA and like having his own, like they were saying, he has like his own little, not production, but you know how gamers have like their own kind of production, but him taking that and making it his own and being more than just a basketball player. Like,
right.
I love it.
No, I love it, man. It's dope to see it. What we're at now? I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I got 5 minutes.
We're at 51.
Okay, I'm cool wrapping up 51 if you cool with it. Unless do you have anything else you want to say?
I think, did we talk about how we struggle to understand our value? I think we did.
Did we? We got about 5 minutes. You want to talk about it? Just in case?
We were talking about how like it comes from our family.
Oh yeah, we did.
Okay, we did. I just want to make sure. Aside from that, we hit everything.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, let's go and wrap this thing up though, man. It's been a good show.
Yeah.
It's been a real good show, man.
I'm over here sweating.
I know, me too. Yo, my arm. You see this?
That's why I wore a black shirt.
Yo, I'm sweating so bad right now. Dude, I don't even know if I tell you, man. I hope you understand your value. Because dude, I am so proud of you, man. I really am. Like with the snack, it's just for just one sample size. The snackable marketing thing. I was looking, I'm like, this is really good, Lauren. And I'm like, I
Thank you,
don't know if you
dude.
even realize how good this is. Like, this shit is so good. You know what
Thank
I'm
you,
saying?
dude.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck the numbers. It's good. The stuff that you're providing people is really good. And I just wanted to make sure, I hope that you saw that. So
Thank
I
you,
want to say I'm
dude.
proud of you, man, and don't stop.
I appreciate that.
For sure. For sure. You know, if you get teary-eyed.
I'm gonna hold it together. I'm gonna hold
No,
it together.
nah, man, but that was a
Appreciate it,
good show.
dude.
That was a real good
Yeah.
show. Any last words you want to say or anything like that?
Go forth and be fruitful.
Yeah. Go forth and be fruitful. All right, man. Well, I said, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, came out of my mouth, and I was like, yeah, I don't know how that. Okay. I was trying to make it like a, ooh, that's a good point. We can end on that, but yeah, it didn't work.
It's all good, man. Y'all, hey, look, y'all go forth and be fruitful, all right? All right, man. Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of Southern Hospitality. Oh, matter of fact, we didn't talk about it. Did we talk about it last episode? That we passed the monthly?
Oh shoot, no, we didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, let's put that in there right quick.
No, we still going. We still going. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're at 305 downloads for the month of September.
Yeah.
That is 41 more than last month. And we're at 642 overall downloads. So we are booming.
Dude, it's going great, man. It just keeps picking up steam. Like, it's crazy looking through it and just seeing, like, even though we're not, some days don't promote it, we're still getting downloads.
I know.
It's amazing.
I'm like, yo, y'all really fucking
Y'all really fucking
I like it.
Oh, man. Well, thank y'all, man. We appreciate y'all as
We
always.
do. Yeah.
We really
thank
do.
you for the reviews. I think we've had a few more reviews added on there. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, we're gonna keep giving it to you.
All right, man. Well, thank y'all once again for tuning in to Southern Hospitality, where me and my sister talk about the Black millennial experience in America. I'm your co-host, Landon Moss.
And I'm Gabby Moss.
And we are out.